Hey, y'all. This is Frank the Bigfoot, and you're listening to the Paranormal Punchers.
Hey, friends. Hey, everybody.
Ow. Right into it.
Okay.
Welcome to Paranormal Punchers. I'm Mark.
I'm Alicia.
I'm Cass.
I'm Nash.
I'm Dave.
Yes, Cass, thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Thanks for having
All
me.
the way
Yes, thank
from
you.
Mooduck. Cass is one of the awesome people that help us imbibe wonderful beers
Yes.
at Mooduck. Cass is into the paranormal. She's into, I assume she thinks we're okay enough to hang out with, and she's joining us today on this episode. Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm glad you could be here.
Me too. I've waited for this for so long.
It's like a life's fulfillment kind of a thing.
Yeah, it kind
See,
of
there
really
it
is,
is. Right
definitely.
on. Okay.
Oh, yeah. But cross that off the bucket list.
Yeah, right.
For sure.
Yeah.
I got everything. I got all the merch. I got
Visit the
pins.
Louvre, see the Mona Lisa, and be on Paranormal Punchers. Check. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's right underneath the pyramids, order of importance.
Right. Is everybody at Mood Duck going to be jealous since you got everybody there listening to the show?
Yeah, definitely, most likely.
I'm sure. Yeah, they don't care.
No, we throw it on the big speaker while we're setting up the bar, and I make everyone
We get the
listen
big
with
speaker?
me. Yeah, I put you on the big speaker.
Nice.
It's serious.
Nice.
I can't imagine my voice being broadcast to the whole bar.
When you're on the, honestly, when you're not in the hollow earth.
Right, yeah.
Right.
It's the only time you'll listen, though, right, Dave? I mean, right?
Right.
Right. It's the only time you actually get to hear the show is when you're at Mood Duck. So it's come full circle.
Right.
The way I see it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Super popular there.
Dave never listens to the show. Out of, and this is what, episode 76. Have you listened to a single episode ever?
Parts
Dave.
of them.
Okay.
Yeah. For the listeners, it's not that I have anything against the show. Obviously, I really enjoy being here. It's that I can't stand the sound of my own voice. Now,
It is pretty bad,
It
though.
does beg the question of why I don't listen to the episodes that I'm not
Yeah.
present
well,
for.
Yeah.
But then I'd really like listening, and then I'd get to an episode that I've been on, and I couldn't listen to it. So it's just easier.
setting yourself up to fail, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
I
You just got
gotcha.
to stop laughing at your own jokes, man.
Yeah, I'm good at that.
So hard. So difficult. On this episode, we are going to talk about the Bear Lake Monster. This was a listener-suggested topic. If I was a better producer, I would have the name of the listener. But I'm not.
That's not how we do it here.
Right. But I bet you when we come back from the break,
We might have
I
that
might be able to
information.
find that information.
Just edit it in.
though,
No
I
one
think
will
that's
never
your
know.
first producer fail. You do a really good job as
I know.
producer.
Thank you, Dave.
No, easy. Oh, man.
Thank you.
Oh, I can't believe
You are
that.
normally on top of it.
Yeah.
Thanks. Well, but this goes out to that listener. You know who you are. Thank you for suggesting the Bear Lake Monster. And we have two stories from listeners. Some really, really fun paranormal stories to get to in the second half. And as we do it here, we kick things off with listener feedback. This time, it's brought to you by Moses Family Jerky, the best jerky this side of New Jersey.
Okay.
I don't know. I was trying to rhyme.
Yeah, okay. Well, I thought you were going to go with
This is where
Mississippi,
Moses just fired us.
Yeah, exactly.
If you use our promo code SpookyJerky15, you can save 15% on your order. MFJerky.com. They're awesome. They're going to make a coffee, Paranormal Punchers coffee.
I was going to say, they make coffee, too.
We're going to have our own coffee.
We're bearing the lead on the coffee, though.
Yeah.
The jerky's fantastic, but they do coffee.
I'm definitely
do
going for the coffee.
Can't
Sorry,
wait.
coffee always
That was a
wins.
little spoiler there about the coffee. If it falls through, I'll just come back and delete this.
Nice.
segment.
Nice.
No one will ever know. It's
Nice.
fine.
Right.
We'll retcon the whole thing.
Let's kick things off. We heard from Rod W. I found your podcast last week, and I thoroughly enjoy its factually limited silliness. I, like you, have a fondness for Bigfoot / Sasquatch / Yeti. When I was in elementary school, I found a book about Bigfoot and their cousins. I told the librarian I lost a book so I could keep it. I have developed an idea that I believe explains all the unknown about cryptids.
Nice.
Here's his theory. somewhere in the universe, there is a planet like Kashyyyk, where all the Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Yeti live. These cryptids have evolved into an organized society to include a criminal justice system. When a cryptid is convicted of a crime, they are sent to the penal colony to serve their sentence. That planet is Earth. The cryptids use their spaceship UFOs to transport the inmates to and from Earth. When the inmate has served their sentence or dies, they are brought back to their home planet. This hypothesis accounts for... Can't believe I said that word. Accounts for why there are so many UFOs. It explains why cryptids are usually seen alone and don't interact with humans. It also takes into account why there are no cryptid remains or corpses. I hope this unfounded, unprovable, batshit crazy idea has shed some light on the Sasquatch enigma. Thanks, Rod.
Thank you. I don't know if I would say it's batshit crazy.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm kind of behind it.
I'm behind it. We're the rural pente of the Bigfoot Society. That's fantastic.
And if you take it a step further, the whole predator concept,
Right.
they're elite, they're rich and powerful, are coming here. They're a different species, but they come here to hunt us,
Right.
and they grab all the bodies and take them with them.
I just think Rod sounds like he would fit right in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
We could work that into our normal conversation pretty easily. So.
I think I touched on something similar in a conversation I had with you guys of like the Bigfoot at this point is considered an intelligent creature, and when one of them dies, it would make sense that they would bury or take the remains with them, which is why
Yeah.
we have no evidence
yeah.
of them being here.
Right.
They're definitely intelligent. Yeah.
Well,
Smartest thing on the planet.
Well, mostly. I mean, they smell. So, I mean, intelligence only goes so far when it comes to bathing. You know.
You know what? How would you feel if you were covered in fur in a swamp?
Have you seen me or looked at me lately?
You're not Bigfoot fur covered though.
you know.
And just that,
All right, Josh.
I can imagine Rod W. sitting back in his house like, yeah, I'd love to be on the show. And you just described sitting with you would be like sitting
with a Bigfoot in a
Big
swamp.
smelly
I'm out.
Yeah, Rod's like, yeah, no.
No, thanks.
I'm going to find another
Never mind.
podcast to listen to.
Yeah.
We heard from Aaron. That would be the amazing Aaron, our bestie. Listen to the Licious bestie. Listen to the latest podcast today while getting ready this morning. Also listen to the Halloween one, and I couldn't stop laughing when Nash got the devil card.
The devil. I know it.
When you commented also about how Nessie has the most sightings this year, all I could think about was this huge thing my friend Maisha and I saw in Lake Bled in Slovenia. They went there for a swim when they were stationed overseas. That is Lake Bled in Slovenia. We have been drinking. Okay, the story starts to unfold.
It's a great story already.
We had been drinking, and I didn't see it clearly, but it was huge. She confirmed.
Oh.
That's what she said.
she confirmed she saw it too. It looked like Nessie or the biggest catfish in the world. When they got home, they looked it up. We Googled. There was no info at all that they found about a giant lake creature in Lake Bled. I wonder what they saw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now insert
Road trip.
all the jokes.
Yeah. This is not that kind of
If
show,
Nash
but
could
you know.
breathe,
Yeah.
we'd maybe get a joke in.
I just have to filter through them, and it's becoming difficult.
What would be the name of that monster in Lake Blood? Would it be Bloody?
Bloody.
Yeah.
Bloody?
Well, I feel like if there's nothing about this sounds like a perfect road trip. I mean, investigating
To Slovenia.
To Slovenia,
Yeah.
road trip.
air trip. I don't know.
Okay.
Anyways, it
Adventure.
we talked about doing road trips to things that are already documented and getting our own perspective on this. We could be the leaders in bringing this monster to light.
Well, it sounds like at least to do the scientific experiment, we get drunk, go swimming,
Yeah.
and then hopefully we see something huge.
And if
See
you
what
didn't
monster
ever hear
pops out of the
something
water.
we're more perfect for.
Why do you say it like that, Nash?
Do I sense a third comic book in the making?
Oh, there you go.
Battle at Bled Lake. Was it called Bled Lake?
Lake Blood?
I had it backwards. It's okay.
Yeah, and it's close.
Same thing, pretty much.
Thank you, Aaron. And we're going to see Aaron in a couple weeks.
I know. I'm so excited.
We're going to talk about paranormal. Maybe she'll be on the show.
Oh,
Hey.
my God.
She can describe the hugeness of this thing she saw.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, boys. Calm down, Nash. Calm down.
I'll come with a list of questions.
Oh, God.
Costanza would be. So
Shoot, Jerry.
envious. No shrinkage.
Woo, moving right all along here.
It was a warm lake.
Stop laughing at your own jokes. We are from Johnny T. This was an idea he had for a topic. War or military stories of paranormal events would be an awesome topic. I do agree with that, Johnny. And Johnny, thanks for all the stuff you post in our group, Facebook group.
Definitely.
It's awesome. I love the interaction. When I had told this before about my stepfather who, when he was flying one of his missions during, it was Korea, he said he saw UFOs. So I imagine some of our veterans
Oh, God, yeah.
Has some
probably
stories.
has some stories.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
think that's a really great topic. Thanks, Johnny.
Yeah.
On Twitter, we got a message from Drunk Uncle.
Some drunk uncle.
Yeah.
All right.
We all got one of those.
And Drunky said, found you guys.
Drunky?
Drunk Uncle. Found you guys, and you had me at the word beer, among other things. Haha. Good stuff. Going to keep on listening. Thanks. And thanks, Drunk Uncle.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Gonna keep drinking.
Keep on drinking. Mm-hmm. And let's see. We heard from Chromos. You guys remember Chromos? Mm-hmm. Hey, how y'all doing? I'm good.
Yeah. Pretty awesome.
You guys should not let one bad review rattle you. The last podcast, I could hear you trying to be more serious than Norm. Screw the trolls. Roll a D20 and smite them with bitch be gone.
Nice.
You all do you. That's why we love listening to you. And Pudding Skin, too.
Nice for the win, baby.
Well, thanks, Chromos. Did
Thank
you
you.
think we dialed it back a little bit, or were we just being, like, sarcastic?
I do think we dialed it back a little bit.
You think we did a little
Yeah.
bit? Yeah.
I mean, it was
It's hard not to be a little sensitive sometimes about
that,
comments.
and the topic was different for us. It was more of a history, a true history type thing, true crime versus paranormal and whatnot. So we were already in a different genre than we typically take on. Mm-hmm. But I think we were influenced by the troll.
Okay. Well, then
I
next time.
personally loved all the memes that came out on your Facebook group about it.
Thank you.
I laugh reacted.
That was Dave's
every
idea.
single one. They were fantastic.
Did you have that at the pub? And then when we were done, I immediately ran home and made it.
Yeah.
It was that whole one with the one lady screaming and then the white cat's like giving her some crap back. So we turned it into the lady was screaming, "You laugh at your own jokes," and then the cat was like, "Pudding skin." And now we're laughing at our own jokes.
Yep.
Well, speaking of pudding skin, let's end this segment. We heard from our pal Ray Bands 94. And he is referencing a tweet that he retweeted, and he says the pudding skin thickens.
Oh.
All right, so this tweet, and Nash, I'm so glad you're here because you'd be the only one that has an opinion. When you hear banana pudding, do you think banana-flavored pudding or pudding with chunks of banana in it?
Oh, yeah.
I need to know if I'm bugging.
No, you're on the right path. I think the same thing with multi-flavored donuts. The exact same thing. I gotta
Wait,
tell you.
multi-flavored donuts?
Yeah. So if you have donuts with a bunch of the donuts with a bunch of different flavors, they're really the same donut with different icings and different toppings. Are they different donuts? It's the exact same thing. Is banana pudding, banana flavored pudding, or regular pudding with banana chunks?
But no, see, this in and of itself
I
is
thought-
actually kind of eye-opening to me because I've never had any kind of pudding that had banana chunks in it.
Yeah. I know.
Okay.
I've just had banana-flavored pudding. Pudding with banana chunks in it sounds absolutely amazing, and I don't know how I've missed out on this.
But is
to
that-
even be a
I think
concept?
I would rather have that over banana flavored
Yeah,
pudding.
yeah.
With the chunks in it.
Yeah.
But then the chunks are more perishable. The chunks would be more perishable than banana
I
flavor.
don't care about perishability. I care about what I want.
I don't care about
You see, that's what I'm saying. I don't know, but which one is correct? Which one is the banana pudding?
Well, when you hear banana pudding,
Yeah.
do you think flavored or big chunks?
I think flavored, but that's just me.
I think flavored, but I'd rather think chunks.
I'm with Dave on this one. Like, I've only had the flavored, but I would rather eat chunks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna say. You know what?
okay,
I'm
go
gonna
ahead,
say.
Lab.
I'm gonna say the exact same thing. I think of banana flavored, but if I have a banana shake, it's because I've added banana to our regular shake.
Yeah.
So then it has the chunks in it.
Yep.
Ah.
I don't know.
I'm gonna have to think about this for a couple years. Uh-huh.
He's never going to let this go.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks a lot, Ray Vance.
Way to go.
I don't eat pudding,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, we don't.
I don't eat pudding.
No dairy.
If you flip that, would you want a banana flavored beer or chunks of banana in your beer?
Neither.
Okay.
Chunks of banana.
Well, but if you have
Nash.
if you have a good pills, it has bananas in it. It has banana flavor
and
to it.
a wheat beer has banana and clove, but I think the concept of like doing a what's it called, the not rattler, the thing where you infuse the
With
beer
all-
through it
Yeah.
while you're pouring it, put fresh banana chunks in there and pour over that. I think that would be awesome.
Isn't that what they call a
not a
Northeast
rattler, it's
IPA? They look like they're like banana.
I'm like, we have to be.
I will dispute.
That's a hot
As
topic.
the walking Mood Duck dictionary, I will dispute. That is not annoying.
We are the most
These are
food-centric paranormal show out
Yes.
there, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I just wanted to throw it out that if the pudding skin thickens, that means things can't get through.
That's
So
right.
I kind of don't want the pudding skin to thicken because
I don't want it thinking either.
Ooh, that's a whole
Sentient pudding.
Become sentient.
Oh my
and
gosh!
start-
Oh my gosh! Hold
Then
on.
we have some issues.
yes,
There's comic book number 4. Like, we're just raking them out right now.
Definitely writing a comic book about that.
Wow! Nice.
Wow.
words are so hard.
If you would like to send us feedback, just hit paranormalpunches.com. You'll find all the info on how to reach out to us. That would be awesome. We'd love to hear from you, no matter if it's paranormal or food-oriented questions. Nash is our master chef.
Yeah, master eater. Anyway,
Master Eater. And if you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, go give us a review if you like us. All right.
Here we go, laughing at our own jokes again.
that's right.
Oh, man. Failed. Now that the cooking show part of is over,
Someone put us on Food Network.
yeah, I know this would be the best Food Network show ever.
Yeah. See, there you go.
We're going to jump into our main topic for everybody who's still with us and didn't turn it off. We're going to talk about the Bear Lake Monster. This creature lives in this lake that's called the Caribbean
Lake.
of the Rockies.
Oh, yes.
Because the water is so
it's
beautiful and like
clear almost, yeah.
turquoise color. And I think that the coloring comes from like some type of algae or whatever that's in the
Yeah.
water, but it's beautiful. Lish, take it away.
All right. Well, Bear Lake is on the Utah-Idaho border. And actually, like, half of it is in Utah and half is in Idaho. It kind of, like, stretches both states. Yeah, why is that not working? Okay.
Mic issues.
Yeah, sorry. There's a lot of varying descriptions of this creature, but everybody kind of says it likes to sneak up on you when you're swimming, blow water at you, as long as it doesn't carry you off and eat you. So,
Yeah,
So there's two. It'll come up and prank you.
yeah.
or
it'll just eat you.
or devour you.
It
Yeah.
depends. It's moody.
Yeah. So it resembles a serpent or crocodile, depending on who sees it. It's at least 40 feet long with short, powerful legs. It has been described as longer. Has a large body with about 30 feet that's exposed in the air or whatever, like when it's undulating through the water.
Oh, gotcha. Like its
Yeah,
back, its
yeah.
spine, or whatever.
Yes. It has grayish-greenish skin, has giant, wide-set eyes, and can move very fast in the water. It can also move on the land, but it's just a little slower and a little more awkward. I think the water is its home, really. Its head is described as being similar to that of a cow, an otter, a crocodile, or a walrus, minus the tusks.
Oh, my.
Wow.
I know.
That's a whole mess.
I know. So it just depends on who sees it and what they see. But
Actually, 3 of those are similar.
Kinda
One
similar.
is not
Right.
at all.
yeah,
Yeah.
I know. I don't know. It spurts water out of its head or mouth. So, because some people talk about it coming out of the top.
Like
of
having
it.
a blowhole?
Like a blow.
Yeah. So
Glad you laughed, bro.
Why wouldn't I?
it's known to wait for its victims by the shores and then pull them in. And it's also
Like an alligator?
yeah. It's also known to attack swimmers in the lake. So if you're swimming, watch out. It has also been described as being covered with fur, like a seal, and a head similar to an alligator, or like a mane, like a horse, with large eyes. And it's also got a head sloped down to a point, giving it like the shape of a monster pig head, minus the ears. I know.
I also
Listen.
found it to be like someone described it to have like the nose and the fish of a mouth with like huge eyes, and it was just covered in scales. Like the reports of the sightings of this are so varied, and the description
really
of the
are.
creature are insane.
It's crazy.
Now, this lake, because the description of this monster is all over the place, but this
Right.
lake is obviously made from a glacier a long time
Right.
ago. It's one of
Right.
the oldest lakes, I think, in the United States.
Wow.
It has the deepest, I guess they have checked it out, is like 280 feet deep, average depth of 80 feet.
Okay.
So there could be stuff living at the bottom
There
could
that
be
we
caves
haven't
down
even
in
been able to. It's not like people are like James Cameron it and getting in subs
Right.
and exploring the bottom of this lake.
Yeah,
So
well-
there could be some stuff left over from maybe, right?
People have also described there being like one large creature and then several like smaller like off spawn. And they've not only in the Bear Lake, but in the Great Salt Lake and other surrounding waterways have had sightings of this creature to the point where people have started to rumor and hypothesize that there's an underground channel connecting
Right.
all of these bodies of water to which they traverse and like move around.
Yeah.
I love that so much.
Right.
I'd love for them to be shooting caverns all the way to the Hollow Earth,
Right.
all the way popping up at Loch Ness.
So just a little bit more on my quick research.
That you did just now.
No.
That's classified.
Classified. That's right.
But the lake itself is it has properties that the way it was created, it has evolution of several unique species of fauna that could only occur within this lake, meaning it's already unique. But it's also formed by fault subsidence, so that the fault lines are actually causing it to get deeper on its eastern side over time, which means that it's evolving as it goes, and it could have unlocked things
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah.
could still be unlocking things or giving passage to things to
Right.
Right.
leave to other places.
Because wasn't there another situation where there were? Did I read somewhere about whales? Did you guys read anything about this?
No.
They were transporting whales to Salt Lake, the actual Salt Lake in Salt Lake City, and there's a channel that connects Salt Lake to Bare Naked Lake, and that they were they saw there was someone who saw these giant whales that they're being transported on a semi or on multiple semis to Salt Lake, but never saw the whales. And then, to your guys' point, that it was hypothesized that the whales then left Salt Lake and went to
Bear Lake.
Yeah, Bear Lake, because by using these channels and never really showed up there. Where did they go? Because that was one of the theories that I had come across.
Right.
Yeah.
Weird. I don't think I saw anything about like whales.
Yeah, they were like.
Why would they put whales in the salt lake?
They were like freshwater whales. Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, and they were trying to transport them for some reason. I don't know why they would bring whales into
That's
Salt Lake.
bizarre.
Because from their planet there was no whales and they had to go back.
Yeah, right.
And one other quick fact, it's 109 square miles, which it's rectangular, but that would average out to 10 by 10 miles on each side. So if it was square. So that's a pretty big
That's a pretty good
lake.
chunk.
Yeah. It's not a small lake. So even it averaged up to 80 feet, if you think 10 by 10, that's a lot of ground to cover or water to cover if you're trying to find anything.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, they've even found with everything that's going on, like weather-wise and globally, that the lake itself is slowly draining itself. So there have been like slowly more and more sightings and things as the lake lowers.
Okay.
So as that continues, we may uncover like there is this channel, or there is this creature that we
Right.
couldn't get to before because the lake was so high.
Yeah.
Interesting. So it first appeared in an article in 1868 by Joseph Rich. And he was kind of the author of a lot of different articles around that time about the Bear Lake Monster. I think he started it out by saying that the Native Americans, they had a tradition concerning a strange serpent-like creature inhabiting the waters of Bear Lake. And now it seems this water devil, as they called it, has again made an appearance. So he, like, for a couple years, he was just pumping out these articles talking about this. S.M. Johnson, he saw something in the lake which he thought was a body of a man. And then he saw it had a head and a neck like some strange animal. And on each side of the head were ears or bunches the size of a pint cup.
Pint cup?
Pint cup, yes. And a forked tongue that flicked in and out. And he concluded that the body must be touching the bottom of the lake.
So this guy was drinking pints.
That's exactly what it
That's
is.
what I get from that.
And he's
description.
probably looking through the pint as, he's seeing this creature.
Yeah. The next day, actually, 3 women and a man saw a monstrous animal in the lake near the same place, but this time it was swimming at an incredible speed. But yeah, articles would come out for like the next 3 years, I would say. And some of the reports were actually of multiple creatures, not just one. So it could be like a family of Bear Lake monsters, but...
It seemed like he came out with the first article with like the Native American traditions, which would date the monster back even farther. We just don't have any recorded record of it.
Right.
And then from there, he continued to write secondhand accounts of people who had seen the monster as a way to continue his journalistic outcomings.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, because they said on that first sighting that there was on the first sighting in 1868 they reported the single creature, but they said there were actually 10 different creatures in that sighting.
Yeah,
and he only reported the one. So that's what I was like. So were those all the family that you guys are talking about, or were those other creatures, different species of creatures?
I don't know.
And I didn't find anything on the other creatures, just on the one.
I know some campers actually claim that a huge alligator-like creature came out of the water and destroyed their camp. And during this time, there was such a panic over this that the gun sales increased during that time. They were freaking out. They thought maybe guns would work. I don't know.
I have that. It was 1907. The Logan Republican had written a story about that account, and it was the guys' name were Mooney and Horn were the two guys, and they were camping on the shore, and they had said at sundown they had tied up their horses, and they were like preparing dinner at the campsite, and something was coming from the water out towards them, and they had shot at it. Nothing worked, so they retreated, went back. And then one of the horses panicked and broke loose. And then the monster had actually come up onto the shore, picked up the horse with like a paws, they called it, and tore it to shreds. And then like retreated back into the water.
Wow.
It didn't eat it?
It didn't eat it. They claimed like they saw it lift it, it shredded it, and chomped down on it. And the quote was like a bull terrier would a mouse.
Oh.
So like it completely like decimated this horse and then like just kind of left.
It was the size comparison too.
The size
like
comparison
that horse
too.
was like a mouse to a
They signed off on this news article, and they had described the creature as it was mostly head with 2 large eyes the size of front wagon wheels, so like massive eyes.
Okay.
And a nose and a mouth like a great fish, and its arms seemed to came like out of the head. It didn't really have like any distinction between the two. And its hind legs were long and bent like a kangaroo, so like it would have been able to move on land, however encumbered, but it would have been able to.
Right.
Interesting.
But its tail was like a fish, so everyone's calling it like a Lephevian kind of creature, but it was just like really weird and
I'm just really impressed you used the word Lephevian. I was like, wow,
I told you
that's
guys
really
I did
awesome. That was
research.
awesome. I was
wasn't gonna
way
leave
above
living
my
on our
knowledge
own
level.
over here.
Now, in your research, did you guys find anything about the tales of the Bear Lake Monster stem back to the Shoshone Native American tribe? They talked about this coming up and grabbing people that were like doing stuff in the lake, whether they're fishing, whatever, grabbing them and dragging them back down into the water. Did you guys come across any of that?
I didn't. My stuff started at the 1868. Is kind of where as far back as I went.
I feel like that's when it started coming in the newspapers and stuff. But I imagine that there were traditions passed down through
legends that
Right.
they pass down these stories. So
Right.
I mean, did they see it? Did they go there to do some fishing to feed their family that day?
Right.
And this thing would come up out of the water, grab them.
I keep thinking like
To me, it almost sounds like a big ass alligator.
like Lake Placid
Yeah.
kind of a thing.
Right.
Yeah, it's just like
Right.
even with Betty White.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, 26 years after writing all of his articles, Joseph C. Rich, he admitted that it had all been a wonderful first-class lie. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Because after he said, I made this up or whatever, there still have been reports of this creature.
Right.
Since
Right.
then. Yeah. In 1907, people saw it. I guess it came out and killed their horses. I think that's where
Yep.
you were talking
Right.
Yeah.
about. And then there was another story in 1907. Aquila or Akia
Yep.
Nabeker. He talked about the monster overturned his pig pen, ate 8 of his pigs, ate a small stack of hay, ate a bale of barbed wire, and lacerated 2 of his milkers. So he got an idea. I'm going to play some music for the monster just to, calm it down or whatever. The monster stopped, and then it smiled. It had a lyre on thank you, on its tail. So it started accompanying the music with the lyre. Yeah.
Yeah, he started to play. So the song he was playing on his gramophone was "Home Sweet Home,"
Yeah.
and so the
From
creature.
Motley Crue?
Right. I was like, wow.
So the creature, I guess, had made the lyre from the remains of the pig pen and the hay that it had eaten. And he was playing along with the song, and by the end of it, he was like resting his head on the creature, and they were crying
Yeah,
together.
they were crying.
As
it was
you
like-
do, I guess.
And now they've become best friends,
Yeah.
and you can't call it the monster. It became like it's one of the most questionable.
You're not a
stories that
monster.
had
You're
come
just
out.
misunderstood.
You're just my friend.
He was
Yeah.
like, he was like, it's very human-like. It's my friend. Don't call it the monster. Like,
Yeah. When I read that, I was like, huh. When it left, they waved goodbye to each other.
and he left the lyre that he had made.
Yes.
Well, I would like to just point out. Well, no, I just got hung up on when he ate a bale of barbed wire.
Yeah.
I mean, the creature's dead. Yeah. The minute he goes to have a movement,
Right.
he's going to shred.
That's a yow. That's a yow situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Becker came back and he was like, anyone that challenges me, you can come see like the barbed wire that he took a bite out of, or like my destroyed pig pen.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's totally how it goes, man.
Now, in 1925, a tooth was found, and they believed it to be the Bear Lake monster, or from a moose. They're not sure.
One of the two. Whatever.
In 1937, a 4-year-old claimed to see it.
Now that I think is really interesting because 4-year-olds, they're not the most reliable, but at the same time, they're not going to make up things based on local history that they wouldn't be privy to. I mean, like for them to say something is out there is, again, it's not a reliable actor, but at the same time, you would think that there's something there, like something to be investigated. Like that honestly gives more credence to this whole story after it's been told that this is a fabrication than anything else.
Well, the biggest dispute to the whole thing is that the entire town went like hog wild on this story.
Yeah.
They ended up, everyone tried to capture the creature, including Brigham Young, who was the leader of one of the local churches there, the LDS Church. And it's still running to this day. I didn't catch his name, but he made a tourist boat that looked like a green monster that goes around and it gives you a tour of the lake, and they tell like the folklore of the lake while you're on it.
Right.
And he claimed to spot the monster himself in 2002.
Okay.
But then they also made like a float in the parade with a bunch of children and was like, this is the real monsters of Bear Lake. And they held a contest. The monster itself is now dubbed Isabella.
Isabella.
Nice.
Yeah.
From the children of the local school. Like they all named it. So the entire, it's not something that like the child wouldn't have known or wouldn't have been about because it's become common folklore in the town.
Yeah, they're. And I'm going to read this for you guys. They, back in the day, they were trying to figure out how to capture this creature. So this is how they were going to do it. They were going to use a barbed hook attached to 20 feet of cable, which in turn would be fastened to 300 feet of 1-inch rope. At the end of the rope would be a large buoy with a flagstaff in a perpendicular position. The stars and stripes were to float from the top of the staff.
Of course.
Yes.
It's America.
Yes. To this buoy would be attached another 100 yards of 3/4-inch rope fastened to the switch end of a tree on the shore. Yeah. The hook would be baited with a leg of mutton and allowed to sink 20 feet in the water, being held at that depth with a smaller buoy. Naturally, when the monster swallowed the hook, there would be a great commotion in the water, but the flag would always indicate the position of the monster.
Does this sound like a Scooby-Doo trap?
Yes, it does.
I don't think it ever worked. So,
I'm shocked.
right.
Now, if they had used 2 1-inch thick ropes instead of dialing it back to the 3/4, maybe that would have worked a little bit better. That's what I call the question: is actually the thickness of the rope.
Right.
Well, Brigham Young,
Wait a second, hold on.
president of this church, at one point have claimed to have captured this creature and gotten it close to shore and had tied it off. But by the time he had come back to show the rest of the town, it was gone.
Okay.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, and I think just in that the whole manner that all the stories talk about it coming on land to eat livestock. How does it? A already dead mutton in the water. It doesn't sound like it smells blood. It's not interested in things not already moving. I don't think they had the right bait for that. Like,
they needed
live bait. Live bait.
Yeah.
Are you calling the question the freshness of the mutton?
Well, I think they should have sacrificed a virgin.
Nice. Okay.
Interesting.
I will. Whatever. Sure. Okay.
Now, there was a couple, I think 2002 they're saying is the last reported sighting, but I saw another one in 2007, so I'm not really sure if the dates are correct or not. But both of those, they were out on their boat, and they actually came like eye to eye with the creature and actually saw the creature before it disappeared.
Did it play him a song?
No.
They should have.
I know. And then in 2014, a World News Daily Report came out where they found remains on the shore of Bear Lake.
Oh.
And I looked at it, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah,
I was like freaking out. And then I looked at their tagline, which says, where facts don't matter.
Right.
And I was like, oh. And so I dug a little bit deeper, and this was something that actually got posted on a couple different
It was like
sites.
a Russian thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, they found a body, but
Right.
they did not. So.
Well, what they did find, though, they ended up judging the lake after so many people reported seeing this thing. And in one of the underground caverns that they found, there was a couple bones from a cow.
Oh.
That they have
you said they ended up judging? the
Dredging.
lake? Oh, dredging. I was like,
Dredging.
judging? Like, why?
No.
Yeah?
I mean, why wouldn't you judge this lake? I know. They dredged
too
it,
blue.
and in one of the underground caverns, they found, I think it was like a hip and like a shoulder bone from a cow.
Mm-hmm.
And they how else would it get there in like this underground cavern on the
Right.
other side of the lake, other
Right.
than something dragging it there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It got me thinking about this whole thing about this giant Lake Placid sized creature. It got me thinking of, okay, so
Lake Placid.
Yeah. It got me thinking, what do you think has created this thing? You know, any ideas on what created this thing, huh? Right? Y'all look at me like, what?
What are
is
you
he-
No, we're looking at you like,
Yeah.
oh my God, what's he
So
going to say?
I got to thinking, okay, so I did a little
How does
research.
this relate to food?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't relate to food.
Come on.
Yeah.
That mutton.
So it got me thinking. I'm like, okay, well, this thing has been around since forever. But what I'm thinking, okay, well, let me just go out on a limb and say, okay, well, what created this thing? In Idaho and in Utah, there's like the top 6 monster classes or monsters in Utah. Okay. There's one called Old Ephraim. Okay. And Old Ephraim is about a 10-foot tall when he's standing up bear, just giant sized bear. That actually their skull, his skull is in the Smithsonian right now. There's Bigfoot, which we all know and love. There's the Great Salt Lake blue whales. Okay. Skinwalkers, which we've talked about before. There's this creature, and of course UFOs. Okay.
I have no idea where you're going.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It got
Like,
me-
are you
it got
just
me-
mentioning every episode
No,
and things we talked about?
No. I got me thinking of, okay, well,
This isn't a recap show.
when they started talking about these whales and about caverns going to these whales, it took me out and said, the first thing I thought to myself was, hold on for a second. Where's the nearest military base?
Oh.
Yeah. So I pulled out of the map a little bit and I'm like, okay, so I pulled up military bases in the area. So an hour and a half from this lake is the Defense Logistics Agency in Utah. Okay. Now if you look at the map, there's multiple National Guard posts around it. So there's not a whole lot there, but this Defense Logistics Agency,
The DLA.
the DLA, is there, and in between Utah, what was it? You said about in Logan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in Logan, Utah. In February of 2016, they have a number of UFO sightings. March is when the carcass showed up. But everybody found out that the carcass was kind of a hoax. But in Idaho in 2018, there were 42 UFO sightings in and around this lake. Okay, so it got me thinking about what we talked about before about the UFOs having an underground facilities for genetic research. That this creature really is a mix, and all the things besides the other UFOs that are here are possibly genetic results from UFO tampering with genetic lines here on Earth. This is one of the creatures that was left behind in this lake that has clear blue water, and you can see it has caverns and has drug things into these caverns. So what I got me down this path of, did UFOs create this creature and plunk it in this lake, and they've been here this whole time?
Well, you also have to go down the path of like something still akin to like the Loch Ness Monster
Right.
being prehistoric, and the lake is just deep enough and secluded enough that nothing has touched it since then.
Right.
And it's had enough food and the right environment to continue to survive up
Okay.
until modern day.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it's just evolved with the times, and now this is what this creature has evolved to be, and it's smart enough to just know to keep hidden.
Yeah, I don't know. I was trying to figure out an origin point for this creature, and it took me down to, there's privatized defense coordinators for the military.
That's the one you could find.
Right.
online.
Correct. That is correct. So I'm thinking that Oh, yeah. Here it is, right? Right? So it got me thinking of, did UFOs do this? And are they in the area? Because we've already talked about on the Hollow Earth and a network of underground bases and sources going to other areas in the different states. What if this lake is a repository for things that have happened, and Utah, which, I mean, I've only been to Utah once, wasn't terribly exciting, but this could be a place where some of the things that were created in this genetic lab had been offloaded. This could be one of them. Thank you.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. Wow.
With that, we're going to take a break, everybody. We'll be right back.
Hey, Mark, we're almost out of Moses Family Jerky Snack Sticks.
That's because you keep eating them.
Paranormal Punchers! You must listen to me. We are you from 10 days in the future.
Wait, in 10 days we get to time travel?
Just listen. In 10 days, you run out of snack sticks. This sends Nash on a rampage, setting off a chain reaction leading to the end of the world.
Me? I destroy the world?
There's no time to explain. Just order snack sticks now.
They have 3 great flavors. Original, spicy, and teriyaki.
The portal is closing. We have to go. Order snack sticks. Save the world.
Is anyone curious how we learn to time travel in 10 days?
There's no time for that right now, Dave.
Right. We need to hit the road and stockpile snack sticks.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads. Go to mfjerky.com and use promo code SpookyJerky15 to save 15% off your entire order. Moses Family Jerky Snack Sticks. The best snack to pack on your paranormal or normal adventure. And we're back. Woo, we had a whole conversation about snakes
Yeah.
during the break.
They're wonderful.
They're fantastic.
They're very cuddly.
No.
Or they'll kill you, depending on their size.
Depends.
Now, some of the drawings of the Bear Lake Monster was serpent-like.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they had a hole where it was coming up and out of the water, kind of like what you see about
Just-
Ness.
Hold on. You okay, Dave?
Yeah, I'm good.
Bless you.
I'm
Yeah.
allergic to snakes.
I've
Yeah,
seen,
me
like,
too.
The two main descriptions were either like very similar to the Loch Ness monster, where
Yeah.
they're like up and down and
Right.
undulating out of the water, or like very crocodile-like.
Yeah.
But they have like feet that they can actually like truly walk on and go through and be
Like
on the shore.
like Gamma,
There's
Guardian of the
actually
Universe.
2 different creatures
Good
that
pull,
are
bro.
being called the Bear Lake Monster. What if it's both of them?
Right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Different species.
They're-
As if something or someone was modifying their genetics to come up with the best algorithm for their life.
Wait, didn't you say something about that before? Not ringing a bell.
All of the above are true.
So what did we learn about the Bear Lake Monster?
I'm not swimming in that lake. I don't care if it's the Caribbean up in
Heck no.
Utah.
Yeah.
Well, what I learned that it comes up, eats barbed wire. You can get drunk with it and then sing tunes.
Yeah, and do karaoke with
It
it.
doesn't sound like such a bad guy,
He's
right?
got
It's
some
just
mad skills with a lyre. Like,
It sounds
you
like
don't know.
if it's hungry, you just need to make sure you have something to feed it so it doesn't
horse?
eat you. But other than that, hang out with it.
yeah.
very human-like, very empathetic.
Yeah.
Just feed it first, and you'll be
Yeah.
fine.
Shoots water at you. It plays with you. You
Yeah,
know,
but we didn't actually talk about that other than the intro. So what are the stories around that? Because I didn't find anything on that, and I'm kind of curious. Did anybody...
Well, part of it's included with Morsey.
I
Hold
threw
on,
my
let
notes
me-
away.
Hold on, I got my notebook.
Hold on a second. We have backup notes. Hold on.
I was like, I'm done. Throw them away.
With the Morsey Horn story, when as it was leaving, it whipped its tail around and splashed water at them. So there have been different reports whether it like will suck up the water and shoot it at you, whether it be through its mouth or like a blowhole on its head, or it like flicks its tail at you and like splashes you.
But is this playful, or is this like
I don't know.
FU or what? Like,
it sounds a little bit more like FU.
It seems like an FU. And if you go back to the blah, 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 blah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The Naburker story where he seduced it with the Home Sweet Home melody.
Wow, that's an awesome... That takes me down a whole different path.
I'll leave your mind to that.
Thank
Ash.
you.
He described it as it produced almost a cyclone with the water that it splashed up and through its tears, and then it floated away with that.
Yeah.
As credible as you take that story.
Right.
Have you ever had enough beers that you would be singing Home Sweet Home with a sea serpent? Dave. I'm looking at you, Dave.
Right. I wonder why. I don't know.
Now, as we were discussing, I'm the only one that has, no, at least you do too, that has an issue with snakes. So a giant snake-like creature coming up out of the water, I would not party with.
I think I would try to ride him like a horse.
Yeah, right?
Well, I'm pretty sure that's what makes them mad. You know,
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd
It's
give
just
him a little,
this
like, good
friendly,
boy.
like, it wants to come up, drink
That's all
some
it takes?
beers, sing
You're a
some
good boy.
songs, and you're just
If
like,
you-
fuck you, serpent. And it's just like, okay, well, here you go. I'm going to eat your horse. Good luck getting out of here.
look at animal domestication. It takes many, many years to get an animal to trust you so that you can ride it.
Right.
I'm pretty sure this creature that it may have been prehistoric or come from outer space.
Okay, but have you played them Home Sweet Home?
Right.
I love that it comes from outer space.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
See? Yeah. Which gives it intelligence, which serves all kinds of purposes, like saying, he's probably like, finally, someone who knows that I'm here to help out and jump on my back. Let's go. I'm actually a courier and not just a monster. I'm just hungry.
Respectfully disagree that any kind of intelligent animal is like, get on my back.
Well, maybe. I'll just say maybe to that.
Okay.
It's a never-ending story kind of thing,
Right,
you know?
yeah.
Right,
Go for it. Ride
right.
for it.
Yeah.
So, Nash, if we brewed a beer
Yeah.
inspired by the Bear Lake Monster, what would you put in it? I mean, you got to put something in for us to get to the point where we want to sing with it and ride it.
Yes.
That's a really good question.
I'm thinking
I'm
like a
assuming it's
nine
at
and a
least a
half
8
salty IPA.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Something really, really high ABV. Yeah, it's got to be like...
You got to do it with like Zappa and Mosaic.
Yeah.
hops.
Yeah, it's got to be really high in alcohol. It's got to be a bit
Aged
on
in
the...
a tequila barrel. The only right way.
Sure.
I'm thinking it sounds like you just skip the whole beer thing, just smoke some weed.
Well, okay. Yeah, I'll go with that.
That's an
sure.
option.
That's always an option. I'm just thinking like I think of it like exactly like the Never-Ending Story. That's exactly the image I have in my head. Right. Exactly. With like a wahoo cowboy hat kind of a thing. You're in Utah. Anything goes in Utah.
Yeah.
No,
we don't have time
alcohol
for
doesn't go in Utah.
Yeah.
It does when you're riding this giant bare naked monster.
Yeah.
Apologize to all the people in Utah that are listening.
Right.
Yeah. Don't go in this lake.
Remember, we're not making fun of. We're having fun with
Yeah.
the
That's
That's
topic.
right. That's
I'm
right.
making fun of Nash, not anyone from
Right.
Utah.
I just want to ride him. That's all.
Oh.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah?
all. Yeah.
Okay.
We do have our band name, Bare Naked Monster.
See, that's it.
Ooh, that's
Yeah.
the name of the beer.
That's the name of the beer. Right.
That sounds like a light lager, though, which doesn't fit
Bare
the
Naked Monster
Yeah.
sounds like a light lager.
Yeah.
But it's like unsuspecting. Like you don't go to this lake expecting to see this creature, and then it's just like creeping out of the water at you. So
And
even if
spitting
it's
water
a
at
high
you.
ABV lager that's like creeping up on you,
Yeah.
it works.
So basically, anytime the beer is served, whoever is serving the beer needs to spit water at the person.
Yeah, definitely.
That's all I'm saying.
Use a spray bottle.
You have a squirt gun with you anytime. You take a beer and you go, and you get a squirt.
That's how I've made some friends at Moondog. They've
See?
made me
There you
mad,
go.
and I just dip my hands in like the sanitizer sink and flick it at them. That's just what you gotta do.
There you go.
Well, the Yahoo reviews would be pretty amazing on this kind of. We might not want to do this with our pub. Yeah.
It's worked so far so well for me.
Any other thoughts on the Bear Lake Monster? I personally would love to see this.
So would I.
I want it to be real. I like the idea that it could be from another planet. I'm okay with the fact that we don't understand every single thing
Right.
that's on this planet. And this planet might be made up of things that are from other planets. So, hey, maybe if they saw it for that time period, and then it got sucked back up into the ship, their experiment was done, and that's why we haven't seen it for a while. I love that kind of idea.
Yeah. Or it's going down into the caves and the fissures from the earth and visiting other areas.
Now, this the Bear Lake actually has like an underground system of freshwater springs, caverns. So it's we don't know the depths of what's down there and the intricacies of the system. I do know that James Cameron doesn't live too far away, and he has subs.
He's got mini subs all over the place. He's got them in his garage. He's got old ones and new ones. He's got all kinds of stuff. He can do it.
Like,
this
should
isn't the Mariana Trench. We could definitely grab a sub and explore the stuff and try and find it for ourselves. I'm thinking.
And I think
road trip.
somebody called it the Marinara Trench on one of the episodes.
Mariana.
Marinara.
They actually call it the Marinara Trench.
It's the Marinara.
I think one of us called it the Marinara Trench.
I wonder who.
Probably me, actually.
No, I think it was me. But it would stand to reason that you would call it that.
I would.
Yeah.
I would. Yeah.
It's
I
a
would
50-50
love to
bet.
see James. We should just give him a buzz. I would
Yeah.
love to see him drop his subs in that
Drop
Bear
a
Lake.
message.
James Cameron, if you're listening, send us your phone number and we'll call you and we'll have a discussion about this.
You don't have him on speed dial?
I do not.
Okay.
I
You
do not.
definitely should, though.
I should.
Yeah.
I should.
You gotta figure it out now.
For all good ideas, I should.
Now, there was a dude who wrote a children's book about the Bear Lake Monster, but
Okay.
one of the illustrations he had in his book showed the creature like diving deep in the water and just going deep. If you flip the book over, it's Loch Ness. So the creature was in the Bear Lake, but dove so deep it popped up in Loch Ness.
Right.
And I was like, I like your idea, dude.
Yeah. Hollow Earth kind of
Hollow Earth?
transport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They could definitely be connected. I mean, the sightings of both of them are extremely similar.
Yeah.
If something like as far back as Nessie is being reported, it could have escaped, traveled, and then just ended up there if there's enough underground caverns.
Yeah.
And got it on with an alligator.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Crocodiles.
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 Now, I did try over the break to look up the listener that suggested this, and I failed.
Oh.
Yeah. Fail.
Way to go, Mark.
So if you were the one who suggested this topic,
Feel free to
Feel free to yell at Mark.
feel free to yell at me, but hit us up in the Facebook group, and I'll send you something special.
a signed picture of the bare-legged monster.
The bare-legged monster?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Different
Got the
monster
first
entirely.
EP of the
Hold on.
band.
Of Nash without a shirt in a swamp.
That's right. That's right. Got to do it like that. Oh, yeah.
Man, we need Art Designs 305 to draw a picture of that.
I have some photographer friends, man.
There
We
you
can
go.
Definitely make it happen.
We'll get it done.
I was at a loss for words.
Yeah.
And that never happens. Why don't we close the book on the Bear Lake Monster?
Okay.
Thank you so much for suggesting that topic, whoever you are. You know we love you. And I guarantee the next episode will be like, oh, man, it was this dude.
Yeah.
Right.
So my bad.
Or do that.
Yeah.
Just yell at Mark. It's fine.
It's fine.
It's
I'll
fine.
take the blame.
That's right.
For being the lack of preparation.
For once, it's not Alicia. It's fine.
It's never. Alicia's the only one that's prepared. Yet, it's funny. We had that review before we started reading reviews.
Yep.
The person that thought Lish was the anchor, weighing the show down.
Yeah.
It turns out he was totally wrong.
The exact opposite, in fact.
He just didn't like the way I did.
That was the Winchester
yeah.
mansion, and you definitely didn't have your
screwed
gun
up. Yeah.
information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
That's such a hard topic to cover, though, because there's so much history and different tales involved with that. You
Right.
gotta give her some credit.
Right. And, like, I feel like a lot of topics we need to come back to.
Yeah.
I agree.
Like, there's more information that comes out, or did you ever, like, hit stop on the record button? I do. And then I
say, oh, no.
I know you guys don't. And then I edit together, and then once the episode's out there, I feel like, oh man, I just learned. I watched this documentary. Now I know so much more.
I know.
So we
That's
should do a
usually
whole.
how it works.
We should do a whole revisited series.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
The Dialogue Pass is one I want to come
Yes,
back to.
I really want to
big
come back
time.
to that.
That's the one that started the Dialogue
Yeah.
Pass started this whole podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Because Dave's fascination with it.
Yeah. And I think, there's been some new developments in it, and we have a lot of newer perspectives, from newer members and everything. That would be
Yeah.
a great topic to revisit.
Oh, yeah.
I vote yes. Like the first
And we know how to pronounce the
13
name.
episodes are all worth revisiting.
Yeah.
When you guys started, it was easily like 27, 30 minutes of
Yeah.
podcasting, and now they've reached
They
like
need to
an
be
hour.
more.
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
love
you
podcasts.
definitely
Like, the first
explore a
13
bit more
where
on
you,
everything.
where you sucked.
Yeah.
Remember those?
No.
Remember those guys?
I have proudly listened to every single podcast. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
But those first 13 were.
They were just you could have elaborated a bit more for sure.
Yeah, well, Lish wasn't even part of the show.
Right. Or Nash.
Or Nash.
Or
for that
Nash.
part.
That's right. That's right.
In fact, like you were just doing it. You were the announcer.
Yeah.
See, that's the whole thing.
You're
Lish
like,
does the
and here's your
research. You
host,
need her.
Mark and Dave.
Appreciate her.
And then Mark and Dave would completely drop the ball.
Yeah.
Right.
And then Alicia was like, hey, look, I'm a regular member now.
How dare
You guys
laugh
suck.
at your own jokes.
Yeah.
I was actually doing research.
And you said none of it.
No, but I was like, because I wanted to correct you guys or like give you guys some
Right.
like updated information, and I feel like I didn't even have that chance. And I was like, okay, guys, I'm just gonna be a part of this. Because,
Just dive in.
Yeah.
I'm here. Don't ignore me, please. I'm here.
I tell you what doesn't suck. It's people listen to the show and then send in their stories that are
God.
far more amazing than some of the stuff that we come up with, hence pudding skin.
Wow!
Shots fired.
Wow!
Pew, pew. We have two wonderful stories this time around from Candace, the always amazing Lady Candace. She's been part of the podcast listening squad, people that contribute to the show since almost the very beginning.
Right.
Right.
Who's reading this story from Candace?
I got it, I guess.
Cass.
Right here.
Cass is going to read Candace.
All right. Candace has a story she would like to share. She says, I've lived in Lynchburg, Virginia my entire life, and have not only experienced but heard stories of weird and unexplainable things happening all over the Lynchburg area. Years ago, I had a job as a receptionist at a law firm that had been located in downtown Lynchburg for quite a long time. While working there, and other people in the office would sometimes mention the man that they heard walking around the old building, or that they had seen him out of the corner of their eye. No doubt the building looked a little creepy, even though it was in decent shape and was well kept, but there was sometimes the sound of footsteps in the hall, and I sometimes thought I saw someone standing in the lobby area in a suit and a tie when no one was there. However, the man that others claimed to see didn't wear a suit and tie. He supposedly wore denim overalls. The building was at one time used for housing the local women's college, and it was owned, I'm told, by a couple that boarded the students, maintained the house, and kept the grounds. The husband often wore overalls and was in the building all the time doing his job. If I remember the story correctly, when his wife passed away, he no longer kept ownership of the building and it was passed to someone else, but then he died soon after that. I'm not 100% sure on that part. But after he died, people claimed to hear him moving around and doing things in the building like he did when he was still living. My aunt who worked there with me claimed that you didn't hear these strange things until stuff was moved around the building or renovation took place. The first time I heard the man, I thought it was interesting, but I didn't think much of it. However, literally, no joke, the very next day, a gentleman that used to live across the street came in and started asking us if we had seen the man in the building anytime recently. We didn't bring it up, and we didn't mention it while we were first talking to him. Sorry, my bad, I lost my place.
It's okay. You're doing excellent.
I'm doing my best. We started asking us if we seen the man. We didn't bring it up, and we didn't mention it while we were first talking to him. Nothing. It was so very weird. I remember we remarked on it later in the day when we were speaking with him that we were just talking about the man the day before, and out of nowhere, someone comes in and starts asking about any recent experiences. My aunt claimed that she saw the man herself once, but only his legs and his denim overalls, as odd as that sounds. There was a lot of boxes with files and whatnot in storage in one part of the building, and they were being moved from another part to the building or being removed altogether. And while this was happening, she caught a glimpse of the denim overalls, and it was just the pants parts. Even she mentioned how strange that was to see the legs area of the denim overalls and not the whole man himself. She had no reason to lie or even mention it, except that the experience was so strange that it stuck with her for years after that. I'm sure if I had asked her about it today, she'd feel the same way. The man never heard anything or showed himself to me personally, and while I didn't believe we'd stick around after death, I definitely believe there is something to these strange occurrences that you hear about, and they're not just our imagination. Perhaps it was an angel there to protect us. Is there any truth to what they call the stone type theory? Either way, interesting stuff. Thanks for reading your listener's story. This is my favorite podcast. So shout out to Candace for loving us.
Thank you.
You guys. I can't say us. I'm just here as a guest. But, I feel like part of the group now.
You did great with that. Probably should just have you read them all.
Yeah,
right?
It's so good.
Special feature.
Dave, let me
not
guess.
my job.
You're looking up the stone tape theory?
Yes.
Okay. What'd you find? Because I'm fascinated. What does that mean?
I just got the first search result.
Oh, I jumped in too soon
Yes.
and put you on the hot plate.
Yes.
Give him like 2 minutes.
Well, while you looked that up, Candace, thank you so much
I know.
for your story. You're awesome. Dave, you good yet?
So this is just the first sentence on the Wikipedia article, but it gives a quick introduction. It is the speculation that ghosts and hauntings are analogous to tape recordings, and that mental impressions during emotional or traumatic events can be projected in the form of energy, recorded onto rocks or other items, and replayed under certain conditions.
So it's like it's like a supernatural tape recording. So it's not actually a recording, but when a certain circumstance happens, it replays over and over and over because of the energy that's being emitted.
So it retrospectively and inaccurately attributed to an archaeologist turned parapsychologist who believed that ghosts were not spirits of the deceased, but were simply non-interactive recordings similar to a movie.
Just like when the Starship Enterprise got in a time loop. It just keeps happening over and over. It's an echo of itself.
But this would be a recording, not an actual thing.
Well, the best explanation I can think of this is there's been a lot of sightings / recordings of people that have lived with someone who have had dementia or Alzheimer's. Mm-hmm. And once that person passes, they've seen that person going through like the past year or two that they lived up until they got that dementia or the Alzheimer's.
Just over and over
they're
and over.
watching them live through that life up until the day they died. And then the recording stops because they stopped right then and there.
Oh.
So it's just like a playback of their life, their daily life. There's nothing.
Somehow it's imprinted on an inanimate object.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I picture it like the bridge at Gettysburg where the traders were hung.
Okay,
the one that's supposed to be haunted. I could see that in this circumstance, those three members of it was the Union Army, right? That were hung, I think. They were having such a traumatic experience. Their experience was just emoted from them and instilled into that bridge as
into the covered bridge.
Yes, as a recording. So now, when you trigger that through whatever mechanism,
You see the same
you're
thing.
the same thing. You're not necessarily. It may not be a visual projection, but you're re-experiencing what that bridge experienced from the traumatic events of those people.
So it's not even like paranormal until you can interact with a device and ask questions. You are just seeing.
Yes,
it just.
I mean,
the spirit's not actually there.
Right.
You're just seeing like what they would see through their eyes or
Yeah.
what happened at
For-
that day and time replayed.
a really bad analogy. It's help me, Obi-Wan. You're my only hope.
Okay.
Yeah. Exactly, on loop. It's like a record on a skip. It just keeps playing the same bit over and over.
That was with 23 seconds of searching. So
Nice.
This actually would be
You do your
really
best work in 23 seconds, bro.
I've heard about this before. I've researched this topic. I find it really interesting, again, because there have been so many records of people discovering
This would be a good
this
topic,
with
by the way.
dead loved ones that they found.
Yeah, that's actually
Right.
You see that person, like, they're just doing dishes, they're just cleaning the floor, sweeping, letting the dog out, whatever it may be. It's literally, you can't interact. It's just their daily life that you're seeing right then and there.
I wonder if we have any access to possibly somebody who might be in communication or might be a little bit more sensitive to the other side. Rona or
Rana?
Rhonda or Rana. I get the two.
You call her Rona, but she won't answer.
Yeah, that's correct. But if they might be able to answer something like that, if they're having an actual conversation, or is it something that they are re-experiencing the same thing over and over? I don't know. That might be a question more for their ballpark.
Right. Ooh, Dave might be right. This is a good topic.
Yeah.
Huh. Good job, Dave.
Yeah. I didn't. I mean, it came up from the Candace. It's like,
I think stone tapes are definitely something to look into because
Okay.
there's so many accounts, so many different instances that you can find and you can discuss.
Hmm.
Because it seems to be a more regular occurrence than actually finding a spirit itself. Just finding someone when they die, it's so traumatic that they just imprint whatever the last memory they had was there right then and there. So then whenever you trigger it, it's just that experience over and over and over.
That did happen to almost every Enterprise in all the Enterprise series, including DS9. I think everyone had that same problem.
Yeah.
I'm going to agree with you 100%.
Do you want to start a Star Trek podcast? Is that what you're...
Maybe.
If you want to do Star Wars, Nash, let me know. All right.
Anybody watching The Mandalorian?
I mean,
Not yet.
I got Disney Plus, so yeah.
Okay.
If you have Verizon Unlimited, it's free for a year, if anyone didn't know that yet.
I didn't know that.
We're on the 7-day trial. I will... yeah.
You should have waited until it all came out and then have your 7 days, binge watch it, and
I
then
know,
be
but
done.
I couldn't wait. Everybody was
I know,
talking about
I
it.
know.
We have another story from the always amazing and our friend who we got to meet at
Yeah.
Funk Brewing, who lives in California, Andy.
Andy. Hey guys, I hope you're all doing well. Just wanted to share my experiences this weekend at the Zach Bagans Haunted Museum in Las Vegas. The tour started out great with the haunted doll room and some miscellaneous.
That's not. Those aren't words that should go together. Great and doll room.
Haunted mannequins, I think, are my least favorite.
The haunted doll room and some miscellaneous artifacts and remains from the Wild West. And about the fourth room is where my experience starts getting a little heavy. This room that once was the bedroom of the owners of the Wingerts, in which Mrs. Wingert passed away. In the room now sits a memorial for Mrs. Wingert, a few original crying boy paintings, Bela Lugosi's mirror, and a large mirror that belonged to Mrs. Wingert. The large mirror caught my attention for some reason, and I could not stop looking into it. And when the tour guide mentioned that she was going to remove the covering to Bela Lugosi's mirror, I started feeling warm, and my head started spinning. I immediately had to leave the room. Once in the hallway, the feeling went away, but every other mirror in the museum felt uncomfortable for me to look at. The next experience happened to Aldo. We were in a room that now holds Dr. Kevorkian's van, paintings done by the doctor, and other items. Playing over a loudspeaker was a recording of the actual music playing during his procedures. I happened to look in Aldo's direction to see him rubbing his ear over and over again. Initially, he said that he was fine. Before leaving the room, I looked towards our tour guide who was standing in the doorway, and behind her in the doorway was a huge shadow. Later that evening, after we had left, he told us that the reason he was running... I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry.
No, you're good.
He told us that the reason he was running his...
Rubbing?
Rubbing. It doesn't say rubbing. I'm sorry.
Autocorrect. It's
Yeah,
okay.
it was autocorrect. Rubbing his ear that way was because he kept feeling a tapping on his ear. The last most intense experience happened in the very last room of the tour. This room holds pieces of the demon house purchased by Zach Bagans, investigated, then demolished due to the activity being so dangerous. The pieces are behind drop-down panels, which I assume are blessed to contain the evil of the house. As soon as the tour guide dropped the panels, I felt like 10 more people entered the already also crowded room, and all the air was gone. When I escaped, I chose the word escape because it felt like I was somewhere that I had to fight to get out of. I felt like I was going to vomit and pass out. The tour guide had to pull me away from the room. I hope this wasn't too long, and I hope it's something you guys will enjoy hearing about. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, Andy.
Yeah.
And Aldo. What's up?
I know.
I want to go there so much.
I know.
I want to see his museum. And,
Yes.
and it's Las Vegas. So.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I'm just happy you didn't get possessed.
I
Like Zach
know.
gets possessed everywhere he
Every
goes.
single time.
As far as he knows.
Right.
Huh.
I mean this slightly
Passive.
tongue in cheek, but not disrespectful. Like, I really wish D&D paladins were real, because like a paladin walking into that would be like amazing. Like,
Right.
Everything's evil.
Yeah,
He's
well,
smashing everything.
yeah,
So stressed, so in tune.
Yeah, and like divine sense, and like, oh yeah, there's something coming out of that. Put those panels back up
Yeah.
before I smite it.
Yeah. Don't look in that mirror.
Yeah.
Me, what do you see in Bela Lugosi's mirror?
I don't know. That's the one I want to look at. Oh, I want to go look at that. That'd be fantastic.
I'm curious why the first mirror, the big mirror, from the person who passed away, was the one causing effect. But then when Bela Lugosi's mirror was going to be uncovered, that's what caused the warm flush or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, I wouldn't expect Bela Lugosi's mirror to have power. Like, he was a great horror actor, but I don't consider him as a horror.
Like he did anything.
You're right. Yeah,
Infuse
he
the
was an
mirror.
actor.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't
if
know.
someone
I
has
haven't
enough
looked anything up
energy,
about him.
When they die, mirrors are said to be
Yeah.
the gateway between this realm and the spirit realm.
Yeah.
If he had enough energy, he would have stuck.
and were the mirrors facing each other, where it was some sort of
Whoa!
amplification? or
Pudding
something?
skin all the way down.
Yeah.
Infinite pudding.
Banana
Are
pudding.
you hungry?
Yes.
Thank you, Andy.
Yeah.
Thank you, Candace. If you'd like to hit us up with one of your stories that we'll read so excellently.
I know.
We tried our best.
I know.
Better than we can speak, apparently.
ParanormalPunchers.com. You'll find all the ways to contact us.
I bought extra beer. You can blame me.
Yeah, we are. We're totally blaming you.
Yeah.
Okay, 100%. I will take the blame.
Anything else before we check out of here today?
Well, if there's a lake that has a monster, I don't think it's a good idea to go swimming. Just in my opinion.
I mean, I'm with
Unless you're
Nash,
looking
and
for
we're
the monster.
totally going swimming.
Yeah.
We're going to ride this thing. We're going to figure it out.
Okay.
But if I'm swimming in that lake, I am not the bare naked monster. I'm just letting you know. I'm not. That's not me.
Hey, you're
I feel like
Sasquatch.
we're going to go to Bear Lake, and then you're immediately arrested because, like, yeah, here's the Bear Lake. Here's the naked
We found
monster.
him. We caught him.
He came back.
He came back. I'm here.
Didn't think you
Sighting
could show your face
2019.
around here ever again, bare-legged monster.
That's right. Yeah, I would just love to throw a saddle on the back of that thing and just cruise
Oh
around the
my
lake.
God.
It's a never-ending story. You just
I
gotta roll
agree.
with it.
Why a saddle?
Just make it more official.
You can't ride bareback?
No,
It's harder.
it's hard.
It is harder.
it's a
I'm
break.
not that
Yeah.
skilled. I'm not that skilled.
I would prefer just to sing songs and drink booze and have like a best bud.
You got to have that boombox playing Home Sweet Home, and that's all you need.
Yeah.
Well, that was my one thing. Like, if only 10% of that story is true, and that it's the monster smiled, like that to me is like instant awesome monster. Like, I want a monster that smiles at me. Like, I don't know what
Yeah.
it is. Like,
Me too.
that's
Well,
just,
and then he waved goodbye.
yeah.
He left.
I mean,
He
those-
left his lyre. Like, it's a good time. It was a
Yeah.
good time in
Yep.
the end.
I'm kind of envisioning this image on a shirt where a bunch of cryptids, including this monster, is sitting around a campfire, having a beer, enjoying each other's company, just on the lake.
Yeah.
What if it was like just another version of the Grinning Man?
Ooh.
yeah.
He just took this shape, Because remember, the big smile away.
There you go.
I don't want to go there, man. That's a whole nother topic.
Or was this like a messed up skinwalker situation that was altered by UFOs or aliens?
Oh, boy.
Or maybe it was something prehistoric that just evolved through time to be able to survive.
What if everybody in that town was dosed with LSD?
Or a Montauk experience kind of a situation. Right.
No matter what,
This
all
suddenly
of those
devolved into
theories, I
Stranger
kind of
Things
just
real
want to live
quick.
there.
The answers to all these questions will never be revealed on this show.
Maybe the next one, though.
Don't rely on us.
Maybe we'll reveal on the next one, though.
I appreciate the topic. It was awesome. We had a great discussion. I don't think we got to the bottom of anything.
No.
Do we ever, though?
No. But we did get to the bottom of this beer glass.
Of our beer
I was going
glasses.
to say, we get to the bottom of a lot of things.
Empty cheers.
That's right.
Cheers. Thank you, everyone, for listening to us. Thank you for supporting the show. Thank you for interacting with the show. You're amazing. I guess if you're in America, have a great Thanksgiving. If you're listening to us from another country, have a great Thursday. You can still make turkey.
If you want.
And if you don't like turkey, you can make awesome
Ham?
or vegetables.
Yeah.
Whatever you're into, make it awesome. Spread peace and love. And remember, if it's not weird,
It's not worth checking out.